Hey, thanks for coming back to the channel. There's some thoughts that you really need to pay attention to. Um, the anti-gun movement, since Bruin decision, as I've said several times, is losing their minds. They're throwing all kinds of uh, legislative ploys around the country, uh, trying to find a crack in the Bruin decision. Uh, Bruin, Heller, and the others that basically um, confirm the Second Amendment as an individual right and the right to bear arms in public, and guns are not the only arms. Anything that you can carry is an arm, and in some cases, argument cannons are arms. And if you had the money, if I had the money, I would have a Cobra gunship with a minigun and a chunker on the front. Some 17 pounders. I carried like 14, a pod of 14 on each end, and two miniguns inboard, or one mini and a 20 mic. That's what I would do. I need to find somebody to fly co-pilot with me because it's a two-passenger thing. But it's an arm. It's an arm, and this notion of weapon of war um, is just a red herring. There are there are weapons like nuclear weapons, bombs, that are controlled by international law, international treaty, and that is true for a lot of things, primarily so that bad actors uh, don't get a hold of them. But to come back to America, this is America. We're the only some countries say, well, we can have guns, but only certain type, and you have to register them. And in some cases, like the UK, you have to keep them stored at a gun club in a safe. I mean, the idea, though, is that in America, it is an enumerated right. It is a right. It is a right that all of us have. Each of us, however, has the right to exercise or not any of the enumerated rights. Right? But it's our choice. What we cannot do is say to someone else, you cannot you cannot exercise your right of whichever of the 10. And if you do, you have to do it in the way that I like. So now that takes and puts the individual in the role of interpreting the U.S. Constitution. Now, contrary to popular belief by the anti-gun people, the Supreme Court's Bruin decision did not expand our Second Amendment right. It removed the things that were preventing that right from being exercised. In Film 11, there's going to be a lot more of that. A lot more of that. And that is what the anti-gun people are terrified of. It's not gun violence, it's violence, for example. But let me come back to what the anti-gun people are doing now. Now, remember, most of the liberal media, or most of the media, are now taking opinion pieces, that is somebody else's opinion of things, and putting arguments out there. The last one I read said, when I was growing up, we had a gun club in my high school, and we were champions and all that kind of stuff, and because of that, today I think that we should not have the Second Amendment as it is. Well, that's called a FUD in our world, because it doesn't matter what your personal experience is. It doesn't matter what your feelings are. Now let's talk about common sense. You hear that term, common sense. Well, let's have a debate. So two things. Let's have a debate to come up with common sense restrictions on a right. Well, no, I'm not down for that. I want to have a debate for common sense restrictions on your right to tell me what to do with my right. That's called let's affect your First Amendment. Personally, I think Islam is the worst religion in the world. First of all, I don't think it is a religion. It's a government masquerading as a religion, but I've got several videos on that. But we cannot, no matter how I feel, because of the First Amendment, Islam gets to stay in America. Sucks to be me. But if I was king of the world, I'd do like some other countries have done. I'd declare it a non-religion and tax the crap out of it. And guess what would happen? They go live somewhere else. I'm okay with that. But like I said, I got another videos on that. The debate, and this is what's important, the debate about whether or not and what should be included and why it should be included as a Second Amendment took place in 1775, right? I was in the room. No, I wasn't. Don't y'all believe that. But those debates, and there were debates, those debates took place. And the common sense fueling those debates resulted in the Second Amendment, and the text of the Second Amendment is there specifically for a reason, and it means exactly what it says. It doesn't matter that people want to have a violence-free world. It doesn't matter that people feel bad when they know that someone can and will use deadly force to protect themselves or protect the country. The Second Amendment doesn't care about that, because that conversation took place a long time ago. The rationale hasn't changed at all. At all. So why don't we debate and compromise? The compromising about the Second Amendment, or all of the enumerated ones, and all of the text that's in the Constitution at the time of ratification, those debates have already happened. And we got a country out of it. We don't need to have a debate about our right to keep and bear arms. We don't need to have a debate or even a conversation about rage killings. We don't need to remember Sandy Hook or any of the other mass rage shootings that have taken place. Those were crimes committed by criminals. There are crimes committed by criminals, and there is punishment for that. Right? Has nothing to do with our right to keep and bear arms. Nothing. Well, let's see. I'm intimidated because I want to feel safe. That, which is the other one. I feel threatened. Well, go somewhere where you don't feel threatened. Go somewhere else, because those rules are going to fall. And what it's going to do, it's going to force those governments that want such strict laws to face the enemy. And the enemy is them. The enemy are the rules that they have made and the laws that they have made that allow such crimes to happen, and or do not provide the mental health care early enough for the people that really need it. Now, mental health care is like who is caring for you? Because my opinion is that anyone in the mental health field is there because they have their own problems that they've been trying to deal with, and they decided if I go to school, I might figure myself out, and then I can make some money in the process. The debate, the Second Amendment, there is no debate about people's feelings. It has nothing to do with feelings in our Constitution. It has to do with crime. It has to do with running a government. It has to do with our rights as individuals, not your feelings. Your feelings don't matter. They don't matter. Public safety. Public safety is covered by the act of a person committing a crime against another person. There's tons of laws about that. It has nothing to do with how they're able to do it. Now, my last part on this is the fact that not everyone is capable, physically or mentally, to use deadly force in any way. Not everyone is capable of doing that. A couple things happen. They depend on others to use deadly force in their behalf. Well, they think that those people are called cops. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Right? Soldiers, their job is to keep threats from crossing our borders. But inside the borders, it's law enforcement. And they're never going to get there. They're never going to get there to protect you. But if you expect someone else to be there and keep you safe, government does not keep you safe. It is not their job to keep you safe. It is not their job to protect you, with the exception of the military and our borders. But other than that, you're on your own, which is one of the reasons why you have the Second Amendment right. If you choose not to use it, then shame on you. Shame on you. It's your right. What you cannot do is say to someone else, because I am afraid to use that right, then others must not use it either, because knowing that others can do that makes me afraid. Either go take some more Xanax or go get therapy. I have no sympathy for that. Anyway, this was kind of a rant because it kind of came on me. I don't know how many anti-gun people watch this channel. I don't think any do, frankly. But that's my stream of consciousness thinking, and is what I would say and do say to people who have issues about the Second Amendment, the implementation of the Second Amendment, and our right. Our rights have not been expanded. Restrictions on our rights have been removed. And what that does is it forces those governments that want to restrict the Second Amendment to deal with the real underlying issues. Or an armed society is a polite society, and you'll start to see more 14, 15, 16-year-olds taking a prolonged dirt nap because they get shot in the head trying to jack a car. Something to think about. And you black ministers and you mothers and sisters and whatever that have these young boys, and that's what they are, and they're violent, and they're raised in violence. And they're raised in violence because you know who influences them. It's their cousin standing on the corner slinging. Yeah, you know who it is. You know who it is, right? We all know who they are by name. And you're terrified that they will start to disappear as others take them out. And that's going to happen more and more. So, heavy sigh. Any comments you have, put them down below. If you like the content, subscribe. I don't think a lot of people continue to like my content. I've been doing this almost 10 years, and I still don't have 10,000 followers, right? I don't know. You know, if I have real 10,000, then I would have a whole bunch of comments. I wouldn't be able to keep up with the reading and responding to everybody. The views would be off the chart. That doesn't happen. So, heavy sigh. I wish you all happy holidays, all 90 million of them during this time of year. And as always,